Alright, so today, guys, for the next part of data, this is the second last bit that you're going to learn about the data. What you'll notice as well with this is if you ever get around to doing your 11 and your 12, this part of the data set tends to take up the most number of marks. Okay, so this and also the second part of this. Okay? And the reason being is because there's a little bit involved in terms of you writing, but then in terms of you interpreting the data and drawing some things. Okay, so you need to pay attention when you do this because it's the easiest way to get the most marks in the SAC. And it'll probably be the same case when you do your 10 SAC if we're trying to make it similar to your 11 and your 12. So our learning intention today is I'd like you all to be able to draw a box plot. If you've never done it before, it's literally just a box with lines. That's it. Okay? And I want you to be able to distinguish different features of your box plot and then draw them when it comes to having an outlier. All right, and you've already seen some of them before. Do you guys remember the Kahoot that we did last session? Where in the last question, there was a question with a box and some dots. That's a box plot, okay? If I was to give you guys a basic definition of what a box plot is, it's basically your 5-number summary, but in a picture form. That's all it is. So you're just visually representing a 5-number summary. That's all you have to do for your box plots, as it mentions there. Okay, but you can also include other information in there, like your fences and your outliers. But in essence, basic form of it is just a 5-number summary. You can draw any box plot just with that. You also notice with your box plots, it uses the median, okay, as a measure of center. So remember the median is where the middle of the data is. Okay, and then the box, okay, basically in the middle, so I'll have it here, represents the middle 50% of your data. Okay, because remember, all of this is your data, yeah, from the start to finish. And it's not quite mentioned here, but maybe on your notes, and I would like you to color this in, each of these sections represents a certain part of your data. Okay, so draw those lines for me in your box plots and split them up like that. Okay, so each of the sections represents a specific part of your data. Okay. Now the reason being and how this works is each part, because remember when you're working with 5-number summaries and your data, you're looking for the maximum and the minimum and the maximum. And then you go to the middle. And then once you get to the middle, Tiana, okay, once you get to the middle, what do you do with the lower half? With the 5-number summary. So you got your minimum, maximum, find your median. What's the lower half? Starts
Q1,
with
Q1.
Q1, which is the middle of the lower half. And then you do, which is the middle of the upper half. Okay, all it is you're just cutting data in half the whole time. So what that means and how that translates here is with the box plot from the minimum, so you can see from the minimum all the way to Q1, it actually represents 25% of your data. So a quarter of your data is here. Okay, that's how we read it. And then so from that means from Q1 to median, what would you have there, guys? You and that. What's over here? So if that's a quarter of your data, what would this be? Another quarter, yeah? So it's broken up again into another quarter. And remember, because you have the median, what's the median?
Oh,
The middle, so that means, what would this half be? 50%. All right, easy. So if I went by that logic, how much would this represent? 25% again. And that's also 25%. Does anyone know why is this so big compared to this? Outlier, but it also, because the data is spread out. It doesn't necessarily mean there's more data, it's just a bit more spread out. So you could actually argue and say over here, in this bit, there's a lot of numbers in here, because they're all so close to each other. Whereas over here, okay, a lot of the numbers are spread out. It doesn't mean there's more. Okay, that's what that represents. So if you look at the whole thing, what does it equal? 100%. Okay, so the idea behind what the box plot does is it just splits it up for you into 25% chunks. And then you're going to get questions about this later on, but let's just leave it at that for now. Does that make sense? Okay, not too hard. So let's actually try and practice these. You might need to watch these as I go through it. Hey, just watch it for now because I'm going to show you how to make it. And then I think in the next page, there might be some space for you to do this. Actually, I think there's space for you now. If there's space. If you have space, do it. If not, otherwise, all good. So to draw a box plot, you have to look at your data and how much you have. Chris, what's the lowest and the highest number here? Thank you, Chris. But I did say Chris. Sorry, I did confuse you guys. 9 and 40, yeah? So what I like to do is start off with your number line. And you're going to go from 9 to 40. I'm going to count up maybe by fives. Okay, so I'll start off at 5, and then 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then I'll stop at 45. Let's just start with that. And obviously, before you do this, you have to do your 5-number summary. Otherwise, you can't do the box plot properly. Okay, so with your number line, just look for the minimum and the maximum and see what's the lowest, what's the highest. And then that's how far or what your range of numbers are going to be in your number line. Okay, and this is where I like to start. I want to start with the minimum. So, Krish mentioned that the minimum was 9. So, on my number line, look for the number 9, and I'm going to just put a dot so it starts there. Okay, that's where my line will start for the minimum. And then the maximum, you can do a dot on 40. And that's fine. Next is the Q1, which is 18. Now, with the Q1, the median, and the Q3, instead of drawing dots, you're going to draw vertical lines. So for Q1, it's on 18. So if that's 15, 18 is probably about here somewhere. Okay, so you're going to draw a vertical line. Median is 20. So I'll draw a vertical line on top of 20. And my Q3 is 33, so that's probably somewhere here. Right, so just draw your vertical line. The next step from there is you make a box. So from where your vertical lines began, just draw a line horizontally to make your box. Yes, Colin?
That means it's like skewed to one.
You're right. So skewed to which side, left or the right? Have a think. Probably to the left, yeah? Because look at it where all the data is sort of bunched up. That doesn't necessarily mean there's more data. Yeah, it just means it's more spread out. Okay, but from there, before we start talking about it, we just join the dots back to the box. And there's your box plot. Nice and easy. Yes. That's how I do it. Okay, there's your box plot. Now, what I like to do is I like to also label parts of the box plot so that kids are aware of what's what. So right here, I might just go min, and then you can put the value of it, which is 9. Okay, here is the Q1, which in this case I'll put it actually in brackets. The value was 18. You don't have to do this. Okay, not necessary. This is the median, and the value was 20. This Q3 is 33. It's 33 or 34? I think it's 33. I think that's an error maybe. And then this maximum is 40. And you can put max there as well. Okay, so there it is. Good job. And here's another thing, yeah. So remember how I got you guys to, in the previous slide, where you split it up and you put those lines and each one was 25%. If you think about it as well with the data, if you split it up, yeah, so if the median is at 20 right there, or you don't have to do this, but if you put your lines there, remember each part represents 25%. If I was to ask, let's see, if I was to ask Attila, what percentage of your data, okay, 25%, that's 25%, bit complicated. Don't copy this part. But if I was to ask you, Attila, what percentage of your data is 20 or above? Not quite. 20 or above. Have a think. Where's 20 on my number line? Down here, yeah? So what percentage of it is more than 20? 24, 50%. So it's this plus this. If I was to ask, Van, what percentage of my data is 33 or less? What percentage of my data? So if we're at 33, what percentage is below that? 75. Okay? That's how you read your box plots when it comes to these numbers. And if you think about it as well, if I translate this back to our numbers, okay, I can translate this back here and actually use the number line on the numbers here to make sense of it. So if there's my median, there's my Q1, there's my Q3 min max. Okay, you can see that you can break this up into 25% chunks as well. Okay, but I won't go into too much detail about it, but let's keep going. Alright, let's keep going. I think you might have some blanks there that we can do. Let me have a look real quick. Okay, let's do this one together now. So I don't know if you guys did this one, but we're going to do this one together. Okay, let's do this one together. No, this one's different. I'd ask you guys to just watch me. Now we're going to do this one. Okay, this one has an outlier. That's why, so it's a bit different. Okay, this one's a bit different. It's got an outlier. So now I need to draw the same thing, but with the outlier. Slightly different, okay? So watch out for this one. Georgie, can you tell me what's my minimum and maximum for this?
9 and 82.
Good, so 9 and 82. So that means my data, the number line, needs to start at 9, or at least needs to include 9 and go up to 82. So draw your number line. And I might go up by 10, starting at 0. So that's 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then we'll go 90. I'll go up to 100. That's all right. Okay, so doing this one, please. This one you need to copy down somewhere. So make sure that your number line includes all the values that are in here. So if my minimum is 9, you have to make sure you can fit 9 in there. Maximum is 82, so make sure you can fit that in there. Okay. Now here's the thing that you have to watch out for. Yeah, you got your phone number summary, but there's also an outlier here now. Abby, what's my outlier here? It says there.
82.
82. It says literally, just read it. 82 is an outlier. So how do we draw the box plot if there is an outlier? Okay, so well, let's start at least with this. Let's do the minimum, which is 9. So I'm going to put that there. About there somewhere. And my maximum is 82. Now, here's the thing. Because it's an outlier, what I like to do is I like to make it really obvious by making it bigger than everything else. Okay, that's an outlier. And I'll make a point that it's an outlier. Okay, and I'll leave that for now. Next, I'll do my Q1, my median, and the Q3. So Q1 here is 18. All right, cool. So 18 is probably about here. So do your vertical line for the Q1. Median is 22.5. So that's 25 there. So it's probably about here somewhere. Okay, and then my Q3, 34, is about here. Okay, so from there, I draw my box, do your horizontal lines. Horizontal lines, okay, and now we do the whiskers. So here's the thing you got to watch out for. This line will go back to the box, but I'm going to ask maybe Donovan, should I connect the outlier back to the box? Should I? No. Okay. The reason why we don't do that is because it's an outlier. Okay. So what you need to do is go to the next highest number after before 82, and what's that? 40. So all I do now is my line will just go up to 40. And that's it. Okay, it doesn't join up to the outlier. And notice how this box plot is a bit different to the previous one, yeah? Slightly different because we have an outlier this time. So notice with the outlier, you have to make a note that you don't join it back to the box plot because it doesn't necessarily belong with the rest of the box plot. And again, you can do the same thing. This is my minimum, which is 9. This is my Q1, which was 18. This was my median, which was 22.5. This is my Q3, which is 34, I think, or 33. Okay, and we don't do a maximum here because technically the outlier is the maximum, so you don't need to make a note of that. But keep that in mind, yeah? Just because it's an outlier, it doesn't change the fact that it's a maximum. All right, any questions? Do we want to do one more or do we get it? Do we get it? Yeah, it's not too hard, yeah? So to do a box plot, find your 5-number summary. Okay, Q1, Q2, Q3, median, min, max. And then also don't forget you need to find if there's any outliers and draw them in as well. Don't forget how to do your outliers. We did learn about that last session. All right. Any questions? Yes, Donovan.
Do we mark outlier as max and outlier?
You can just leave it as outlier. Just make a note outlier. Okay. In your 5-number summary, you don't change it. Okay. You leave it. Keep it as the max still. As in here. Yeah. Do it in your workbooks, please. I think that's it. I think it's now textbook questions, yeah. We'll leave this parallel one for next time. But for now, just do those questions. Okay. I think it's over there, dude.